Hello, welcome to episode one of a podcast. I guess everyone's doing a podcast, but I thought this might be a easier format to just go through some longer form things that I would like to discuss and let everyone know and talk about and inspire. And I thought this was the easiest format and less time editing. So let's go for it. So I've my first place to start is in episode one is my journey this far. So I just wanted to introduce myself, tell you about my journey and what I've done so far, and hopefully that inspires somebody out there to start because that's the hard part is starting. Also, the hard part is consistency, and when things aren't working, trying to keep going even though you feel like you're failing. So I want to help someone out there that feels like they either can't start or they're failing, and let them know that they're not alone. This happens to everyone. I've seen other people talk about this, so I thought I'd throw my hat into the ring as well. uh, so that's what's going to be in this episode. The introduction to myself is um, I'm 45 years old. My name's Chris. I live in Australia and I live in Canberra. And it's predominantly a cold climate here, although in the summer times it's dry and hot. And in the winter times, which are long, 4 or 5 months of coldness in this town. So it's easy to lose track of what you're eating, and it's easy to eat the comfort foods. And my body type is I predominantly put fat on my tummy and my bum, and my legs. So I usually have, lean shoulders and a fairly lean chest, and I'm trying to get rid of, get leaner on my chest and actually have pecs. But my body type is I put weight on my tummy and on my bum. So that's probably the same as everyone else. And, I know I'm not unique in that way. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm working on getting a six pack in my 40s. I've never had a six pack before. I've always been chubby. I've always been overweight. Always had the little tire on my tummy, and I still do have a bit of a tire on my tummy. And my idea is to get rid of that. And I thought, well, if I'm going to get rid of it, I'm not just going to lose weight. I'm going to get a six pack. And that caused me to look at some other people that are 45, 50 and onwards who have a six pack. And it's led me down this path of discovering, there's nutrition involved, but my main focus now is on hormone optimization and hormone health, really. So what I found for myself, and I hope this helps someone else, is that fixing my hormones was vital to even start losing weight. And part of fixing your hormones means you gotta have the correct nutrition. So it's exercise, nutrition, it's everything. But if you concentrate on optimizing and protecting your hormone health, then everything flows from there. And it's just been amazing since I figured that out. So I've spent most of my life trying to be active, trying to be fit. I would like to just sit on the couch and eat crisps and watch videos, but I also enjoy working out, and I've worked out most of my life. So most of my younger time, I did a lot of weights and I got pretty fit, but I was never lean. And then I started running and doing lots of aerobic, anaerobic exercises, and still couldn't shake the body fat. So I was still, 30% body fat. I don't know how. I was running a lot. Me and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, we were running a lot, and I was eating a lot of what I thought was fairly healthy, but it wasn't what my body needed. So I've spent my life trying to be fit, trying to figure out ways to be fit. I've done every exercise under the sun. I've done a HIIT, I've done weightlifting, I've done running, we've done half marathons, lots of things like that. So it got me somewhere. It got me to a point of losing the first big chunk of weight and then nothing, and got me to exhaustion. So what I know now is, the anaerobic exercise, it's fine when you're 20. You can run a lot, but as you get older, it tanks your hormones. And so my concentration now is on less of that, still some, but less of the anaerobic, which is the exhausting exercise where you're puffed, and more of the muscle building exercises. And I think this is good for anyone. To what extent do you go? Well, that's up to each individual. You can just lean yourself out with just weightlifting exercises, or you can go full on and try and get a six pack like me. So what I used to eat. They're my habits. I love cheese. I love all the foods. I went off milk for a long time because I thought milk was unhealthy. Milk is still unhealthy, except if you get it in its raw form, and then you get all the goodies with it. But we can't get raw milk in Australia because of the laws. So raw milk is hard to come by. But I do like unhomogenized milk, which means it leaves the cream on. Everything is still pasteurized, but I like getting the cream. I like the fat. So that's what I used to do. I used to love dim sims and all that sort of rubbish. But I used to eat healthy. I used to eat meat and veg most of the week, and then, splurge on a weekend. And I was still putting on weight. But most of my meals consisted of having some sort of grain and wheat or whatever it is. So what I know now is that stuff shouldn't be in our bodies. It's not food. Well, it is food, but it's not good for us and it affects us. So how I came to understand hormone health, it's only in the last 5 years, and then really press go in the last, say, 12 months. But over the last 5 years, since I hit 40, I wanted to get healthy. I wanted to get a six pack. I made up my mind, spent 4 years dicking around, didn't really achieve too much, except it got me to this place where I stumbled on the carnivore diet. And it came about as being at the end of a rabbit hole, looking on YouTube, and found the carnivore diet, found all the usual carnivore people. And I thought, well, I'm going to do an elimination diet. And just because I've had spots on my chest and things like that. You can probably still see, so there's a little bit of a mark down there. So I've always got spots on my chest, and I thought they were liver spots. They probably are, but I thought they sort of come and go, and definitely spiked by alcohol. So I thought, well, I'm going to try my best to give up alcohol. That's been troublesome, but I'm doing pretty good. And I'm going to do an elimination diet, and I'm just going to see if I die. So I did it for 2 weeks, and I felt amazing. And that's when I started looking seriously into the carnivore diet and thinking, well, what I wanted to know was, will I die? And are there people surviving on the carnivore diet longer than 2 weeks? Because I didn't know if I was, becoming malnourished. So I went down another rabbit hole, found a whole bunch of people, especially Ken Berry, interviewed a lot of people that have been on the carnivore diet for many, many years, some 30, 40 years, and they're still surviving and thriving. So I thought, well, there's people out there that are actually surviving and actually thriving. So why don't I give that a go? So I started up again, and I thought, we were going for a trip over to Bali, and I thought, I'm not getting sick of their water and food and everything else, so I'm just going to eat cooked meat the whole time. So I started 2 or 3 weeks before we went over, just so I could get myself into a position where I was comfortable with just eating meat. So I went for a couple of weeks before we went over, survived over there just on carnivore. Did eat some pastry stuff occasionally, but for the most part, I was just carnivore, and I did have a couple of beers, and I didn't get sick. Everyone else got sick, and I came back and I went, well, this is actually really good. And I came back at the same weight that I went over. Usually I come back, and everyone comes back heavier than when they went on holidays. So I came back at the same weight, maybe a little bit skinnier, and I was doing workouts still while I was out up there, over there. And so I began this carnivore journey and continued on that for the next 3 months. I stayed strict carnivore. I was doing really well. But the only downside was my workouts were a little bit lackluster. I was feeling a little bit weak, and I was severely dehydrated all the time. I was taking electrolytes, but they had a bit of sugars in it, so I was trying to find electrolytes that didn't have any sugar in it. And I was eating lots of salt, just putting salt on everything. I was drinking salt in my coffee, salt and water, and I still was feeling dehydrated. So I then discovered Carnivore MD, which is Paul Saladino, and he was a carnivore and had the same problem, and then he moved to animal-based and introduced fruit and then honey into his diet. And I thought, well, I can introduce fruit. So I started with berries, and I loved it. I love my blueberries. So introducing berries cleared up all my dehydration. My lips weren't dry anymore. So that was the start. Then I started introducing other berries, and then I thought, well, let's try some fruit. So I was just having fruit. So now I eat whatever fruit's around, and I'm going to try and be seasonal with my fruit and stick with the fruit that's around in those seasons. Although I do get the blueberries that are frozen, so they're all year round, and I just love blueberries. And we live in a colder climate, so usually blueberries are around the winter time, but I'll see how I go with having that all year round because I just love them. That's what, and so now I predominantly eat animal based. So anything animal based, that could be some yogurt, um, some cream occasionally, but I do get an upset tummy from cream, so I've sort of stopped doing that. Definitely meat, burgers, patties, and steak, and anything meat. Usually beef. Try and have about half a kilo to a kilo of beef a day, which seems like a lot, but well, it's actually probably 600 grams of beef a day. That's about it. That's what I eat now, and I'm feeling fantastic. My workouts are really good, and I'll experiment with a few different things. Started on honey for the last couple of weeks, and that's made me feel pretty great. And I haven't put on weight; I'm actually losing weight, so that's kind of amazing. So I'm just experimenting with everything. And what I do now with my exercises is mainly weight based. So I do 5 days a week of weight training, and that's like what they call a bro split. But I do try and do each body part twice a week. So I'll do arms twice a week, and I'll do shoulders and back twice a week, and I'll do chest and legs twice a week. And then on the weekends, I'll try and do anaerobic exercise. Like I'll go out and box until I'm exhausted, and just get really puffed doing something, or I'll jump on the air bike and just get really exhausted once a week. And I'll try and do some sprints and whatever else, wherever I'm at, and run around with the kids. So that's my exercising at the moment, and it's been pretty good. I've consistently lost weight. I've come down from 120 kilos to 102 kilos now, and I've sort of gone up and down based on what I'm eating. And 102 seems to be pretty good for me right now. And I want to get down to 97. I don't know why I chose 97, because it just sounded like a better number than 100. And I think 95 might be too far away, but we'll see how we go. Maybe 95 is my perfect weight for six-pack abs. So I am now at 102 and trying to lean out all my back fat and the little chubby bits on the side. So that's actually taking longer than I thought. Yeah, but I am trying to undo 40 years of abuse on my body. So I'm well aware that consistency is the key, and this is just going to take time. So I'm trying not to play too much with my food, but when I'm hungry, I'll eat. When I'm not hungry, I won't. And the other thing was I'm trying to do some sort of fasting. During the weekdays, I won't eat until 11 a.m. So give myself around 16 hours fasting, and then I'll just eat normally until 6 or 7, and then do that again. Then on weekends, eat whenever. So I'll just force myself to have breakfast just to change stuff up. That is my routine right now, and it seems to be working quite well. And I'm consistently dropping weight and going down. I did go up in weight quite a lot when I was using butter, and I was going on a butter. I was a butter fiend. I was having butter all the time. That was just when I discovered have a stick of butter a day. I put on a lot of weight doing that. So dropped all that weight again. So I've gone up and down. I'm experimenting. I don't really want to experiment now. I just want to keep consistently losing weight. So that's what I'm doing. I hope this helps. And, leave some comments if you got any other suggestions for podcasts. I've got a few in the pipeline that I'm going to record. And I hope this helped you on your journey or going to start your journey. And what I intend to do is to focus more on hormone health and everything that I've learned on hormone health and how that affects me, to try and help other people out there. And if you got any other suggestions, please put in the comments, and I really hope this helps somebody. So thank you. Episode 1 done. Now